In 1985, I was a freshman at Washington State University.
Brass monkey, that funky monkey.
Now, WSU was founded in 1890 in the southeastern corner of Washington State, which is basically nothing but a huge wheat field. The drinking age in Idaho was 19, which was only 8 miles away from Pullman. So, you know what we did.
Brass monkey, that funky monkey.
Now, the cool thing about WSU is it has 19 miles of steam tunnels underneath the university. They added phone lines, twisted pair, cable, power, everything you can think of to, the communication system between the buildings. The only people allowed in the steam tunnels were campus maintenance, for the simple reason being that you could do a lot of damage and get hurt. And at the time, the common rumor was people would go in the steam tunnels and play out their live-action D&D or Masquerade role-playing games. I moved into Orton Hall. It was the only dorm on campus at the time that had co-ed living situation on the same floor. I had my priorities straight. I lived in room 940, and across the hall from me was this guy named Doug. He was a junior, an older college man. I think he was 20 at the time, so he could buy beer in Idaho. Anyway, this guy named Doug tells me the year before that two of his friends that lived in the dorm and another guy named Bomber had went in the steam tunnels. Now let me tell you a little bit about Bomber. Bomber was from a Middle Eastern country, and he had like real photographs of urban warfare and death and bodies, and that's how he got his nickname. So Doug, his two buddies, and Bomber are getting ripped one night, and they want to go spelunking in the steam tunnel. Bomber knew an entrance. It was a grate behind a bush. Here's the path they took. They started out in Norton Hall. They staggered across Stadium Way, snuck behind the Physical Sciences building, crossed College Avenue, and entered the steam tunnel at Fulmer Hall. The tunnel ran parallel to College Avenue for about a block. They took the next right at Veterans Way, where they eventually came to an open basement door to a building. Another interesting thing about the steam tunnels is the lighting system. You'd get in, turn on a light switch, and what it would do is it would light up the next 100 feet of tunnel. So somebody would have to go to the end of that 100 feet, somebody would have to stay at the switch and turn the light switch off, whereby the first guy would turn the light switch on to turn on the next 100 feet. Well, that poor bastard that was at the last light switch had to fumble through 100 feet of darkness, and they found an open door to a building. They saw cadavers and body bags, and there was a head floating in this cake container. That freaked them out, and they all ran the hell out of there and went back to the dorm. So Bomber wanted to go back because they had left some lights on, and they wanted to go back and get the head. Well, Doug said, hell, no way, I don't want any part of that at all. So Doug left. The next morning, Doug caught up with one of the other two guys with Bomber. They had gone back in the steam tunnel. They had put the bodies in positions that would shock the staff when they came in on Monday morning. I think they took a microscope and they took the head. Doug didn't buy it, but his buddy said, go to Bomber's room, he's got the head there. Well, Doug burped the lid, peeked in, and all he saw was this wet, matted hair on this leathery skin floating in this solution. And he said, man, that was all that I knew, that Bomber had the head. So Bomber, being an industrious young man, basically decided it would be a good idea to charge people to see the head. So he would charge $1 for anybody that wanted to take a peek at the head. Well, this news spread like wildfire. There were lines of people outside of Bomber's dorm room to look at the head, and before too long, campus police got involved, and they wanted to know where the head was. Well, Bomber knew the number was up, so basically what he did was he took the head out into the wheat field and he pitched it. When the cops finally caught up with him, He said, "Oh man, it's all a joke. We didn't put bodies in any positions. You know, we didn't take nothing. There was no head. It's just..." Well, the thing is, the cops had like close to 100 eyewitnesses that they've seen the head. Bomber, we gotta have the head. So Bomber takes him out to the wheat field where he pitched the head. And apparently this container had burst open when he pitched it because they found the container but not the head. Well, they were fishing around in the wheat grass and whatnot, and they found the head. Bomber was expelled. Doug, you and I lost track of each other 23 years ago. I think the last time we saw each other, you wanted to kick my ass because I had made out with your puking girlfriend and gave her an ear cuff and a book on hypnosis. If you see this, reply, "I miss you, buddy." Well, basically the head was a tetherball with a wig on it. And everybody that looked at it was so freaked out by the hype, nobody ever took a good look at it. They just open it up, look in, and see this leathery looking thing with wet hair, and that was all they needed to see.